Welcome to the Kisk My Health radio show series on Building Fortunes Radio. Kisk My Health is brought to you by the universally recognized Cranberry King, Captain Cranman, Stephen Lukowski. Over the past 30 years, Stephen has worked with North American dietary supplement companies in the nutraceutical industry. His efforts and connections generate ingredient sales through innovative delivery systems and effective marketing and brand management strategies. Today on Kisk My Health, Stephen is joined by guest host Peter Mingles. Make sure you check out previous Kisk My Health episodes at www.buildingfortunesradio.com or kiskmyhealth.com. Along with our marketing partners, we are here to help our customers improve their health, build their businesses, and make the world a better place. At Kisk My Health, we know how much your health and your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell another friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now, on to our show with your hosts, Captain Cranman and Peter Mingles. Take it away, Peter.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingles here. You are listening to the Kisk My Health radio show on the Building Fortunes Radio Network. My name is Peter Mingles. For those people that might be new listeners, and we have new listeners in all the time, thanks for being here. And I'd like to go over a really quick intro for how this whole thing got started. A long time ago, I wanted to have a microphone and a platform, so we started Building Fortunes Radio back in 2012. That was a long time ago. And one of my first guest speakers, guest host it was Jim Turner. Jim Turner is an attorney over in Washington, D.C. He's a great man. He was older than me, and I'm old. He was older than me, and he was someone who was running with Ralph Nader. For those people unfamiliar with the Raider Naders or Nader Raiders, this is kind of old stuff. In 1993, he started Citizens for Health. Well, Jim and I did radio shows on Fridays at noon. They were some of the best radio shows I think you'll ever listen to because of his wealth of experience and me asking questions that led him to be able to explain how misunderstood I was about certain topics. He was really great. He was a mentor of mine for sure. And then in January of 2022, he suddenly passed away. I was devastated. Now, we were just radio show podcast co-hosts, but I was still devastated because he was a mentor for me. He was my go-to guy. Jim, what do you think about this? Jim, what's going on with this? Whether it was elections or we started the COVID thing, it was really something. And when he was gone, I couldn't let go. I called the people over at Citizens. I said, please, find me a replacement. And I ran replays for Jim for over a year. And they are still up on the Building Fortunes Radio Network. And that's somewhat sensitive towards the topic we're going to have today relative to mentorship. Well, they finally gave us James Gormley. James Gormley was the president of Citizens, and he was excellent. We did a couple of radio shows together, and eventually he asked if he could have a special guest, and I said, of course. And that was Stephen Lukowski. This is where the Stephen Lukowski Captain Cranman story starts to come in. And we did a great radio show with Stephen. It's still up on the Building Fortunes Radio Network. And as a result of that, I joined his LinkedIn for social media purposes. And I found that he was a super sharp guy, very positive, always doing good things for the industry, a role model for sure. Back to that mentorship thing we're going to get back to in just a little bit. But Stephen was great. And I formed that social media type relationship with him. He wasn't thinking about me, but I was thinking about him every time I got a post. And we formed this relationship that he didn't know about. But with respect for me about him, well, in August of 2024, James Gormley suddenly passed away. So I did the right thing. My mom raised a good son in certain regards, and I did the right thing. And I said, I'm going to call Stephen and let him know. Stephen, I was already working with him, so we kind of got past that real quick. And he said, we have to do a memorial kind of thing for James Gormley, of course. I talked to him about my Kisk book and training that we were working on. I've been talking about that Kisk thing forever for those people who've been following that. Kisk is the Keep It Simple Circle. And in essence, Stephen said, let's do this. We're going to run a Kisk My Health radio show series. First, of course, we'll celebrate and memorialize James Gormley and people like Jim Turner. But I know a lot of people that are live in the industry that are doing great things. Let's run Kisk My Health. So I said, okay, so I bought kiskmyhealth.com, and then we started to do some radio shows. And this has been a fantastic radio show many times with people in the natural ingredients area. They're people that are producers, lab guys, attorneys, compliance people, all great people. But there's always a common theme through those radio shows on mentorship. And today we're in for another one of our mentorship stories with a gal that we've interviewed personally. I'll let Stephen do the rest of the introduction, but now we have her mentor here. So this is just a great series. And if you can sense by the nature of my introduction, mentorship is super important for me. And then I try to do the same thing because now I'm that old guy. So having said that, Stephen, thanks for being here on your own radio show.
Peter, thank you so much. And I hope everyone is having a amazing day, but more importantly, after this show is over, you are going to have a liftastic day, because we are here with two wonderful people in the industry, that we're going to introduce to talk about mentorship. But I'm bringing back a special guest from last year, a leader and a founder, a president of a company, and she has been one of our best interviews last year, where she has just shown that through true grit, determination, passion, and drive, that anything is possible in life. And she wants to pass on this torch to all these younger people that she can train and pitch to the industry about their gifts and talents, because we're all unique and special. But before we begin this mentorship mentee interview, I want to share with you that, once again, this radio podcast that we're doing is not for profit. It's for the people and who've made a difference in our industry. When I say industry, I'm talking about the natural product industry, or these are people who have gone beyond the call of duty. They're inspiring, they're trailblazers, they're visionaries, they're pioneers. They break barriers. They help others, open the doors for people to come into the world and make them shine in areas and strengths that they're involved in. Not necessarily have to be in our industry, the mentorship program, but they're helping guide and advise the younger people to take their talents and gifts and create their own footsteps while following the lead of others who have paved the way and have climbed the hill to the top of their life story. So James Gormley was, for me, when he passed away, he gave me the signal that, Stephen, go out there, bring in these natural product leaders, teach the younger people, about life and how hard it is, but with confidence and strength and power and faith that you could accomplish anything in life. And so, without further ado, before, again, our corporate sponsors, like you said, Peter, Joe Bradley and the Step Change Innovation Team, RFI Ingredients, Heather Weiner and the Charlie's Angels over there at Whole Foods Magazine, Imidine Nutritionals, they're manufacturers of the beta-glucan branded as Pure Immune. So these corporate sponsors, without their support, this show would not be possible for our listeners to enjoy and be inspired by the success stories of these natural product leaders. So without further ado, I would like to introduce back to the show, with honor and a privilege, Amy Summers, founder and president of Pitch Publicity. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was a great introduction. Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
I'm so glad you're back. And today you brought back a special guest, right? And I'd like you to introduce this special guest, but not only a guest, but a rising star in the world of, and you're mentoring this person, and this person is going to be making a difference in this world. And I'm so pleased to hear, that you wanted to come back on and talk about this person. And also, I want to also talk about your book that you just released called LIFT, Lift, for all those out there. Have to go to this book read all about it.
Yeah. I know we talked about it a little bit the last time we had an interview, but it wasn't quite, I don't think we mentioned the name of it because I don't think it was there yet. But, it's very exciting to be back on the show and share this with your listeners.
Yeah. So before we introduce your mentee, I want to go for a quick break with go with Joe Bradley, Step Change Innovation Team, to start off with.
Okay, I had RFI. Can we do RFI first?
Why not? Let's do RFI.
Here we go, RFI. Here we go, RFI Ingredients. Great guys.
Thanks for listening to Kisk My Health Radio. Today we're excited to spotlight our corporate sponsor, RFI Ingredients. RFI Ingredients is your go-to source for premium, natural nutrition. RFI Ingredients is a vertically integrated manufacturer crafting cutting-edge solutions for dietary supplements, functional foods, and beverages. Using whole food, natural ingredients processed cleanly through sustainable supply chains, they deliver top-quality products like source-sustainable organic ingredients, chromophyte natural colors, and GS15-4 ginseng extract. Whether it's fruit and vegetable powders, botanical teas, or custom formulations via their Blueprints for Health service, RFI helps you innovate and thrive in health. Ready to elevate your products? Visit rfiingredients.com. RFI Ingredients, naturally better. Now back to the show on Kisk My Health Radio. Take it away, Peter.
And we are back. Peter Mingles here with Stephen Lukowski, Amy Summers. Amy, Stephen, back to you.
Yes, thank you, Peter. Yes, it may be winter, but hearts are going to be warmed up by Amy Summer, right? And Amy, I would like you to introduce your mentee to the listeners out there.
Well, thank you. So Leah Weiss is joining us today. Leah's been working with us at Pitch Publicity as an intern for the past 3 years now, and she started off with us her freshman year at Penn State, and I'm really privileged to still have her with me and working together, and maybe some of your audience has even met Leah because she actually went to Supply Side Connect with me last year in 2025, so she got to meet a lot of industry folks. So thanks, Leah, for coming on with me today.
Thanks, Amy, for the introduction, and thanks for having me on today.
Well, Leah, thank you for joining us. And first of all, I want to say congratulations on selecting Amy as your mentor. All right, and I can't say about Amy.
I'm not sure, Stephen. I'm not sure she even selected me, but
but I did hit the jackpot.
She ended up with me, and then she found out later.
She won the lottery. So there we go. But no, I've known this Leah. I've known Amy. All right, and she's a rock star. All right, and she has broken down barriers. All right, this woman is true grit, determined, passionate. All right, she is a role model and an inspiration, not just for you, but for a lot of other younger leaders to follow her footsteps while creating their own. So I think you made a good choice in being on the radio program today. And but if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and a little background of who you are, so we understand where a little bit of where you're born and a little bit about your family background. That would be a great start.
Yeah, of course. So I am currently a junior at Penn State, and I will be graduating with a public relations degree. I'm actually originally from Pittsburgh, but I moved to New Jersey when I was very, very young, and I love living near the big city. I love New York City. It's such a treat every time I get to go in to help Amy and work in the city. It's my favorite part of the job. But I fell into this internship my freshman year. My dad sent me the listing and told me, you need to apply right now. And I was like, what? I'm a freshman. I have no experience. She's not going to hire me. She's looking for juniors. It said it on the listing. And I got an interview, and Amy actually hired me. And ever since then, she has just been incredible. She has been the best mentor that I could have ever asked for. And I'm so thankful for this internship.
And so what does mentorship, Leah, mean to you? Like, at the end of the day, maybe you could tell the other people listening to the radio show why you think mentorship is important in your personal growth and your professional career.
So before I started this internship, I'm not really sure that I thought all that much about mentorship. And I thought it was mostly about advice going to someone older than you and asking for advice, and they tell you what you should do. But now it's something, I see it as something a lot more active. Amy is always guiding me. She's always helping me in my day-to-day work. It's a very, very active role. And so this internship has definitely changed the way that I see mentorship, because in every check-in, in every phone conversation, meeting, Slack message, Amy works to help build me up and help build my skills up to where they need to be for when I graduate and go into the real world.
Okay. Well, I think it's so important. I'm looking at, Peter, you had Jim Turner as a mentor, right? Earlier on, you said that in the radio. I think I've had a mentor. Amy, have you had a mentor that you'd like to share with the listening audience?
Yeah, I definitely have. I think that if you would have asked me this question earlier in my career, when I was just starting out, I would have said that I didn't have that many mentors. I say that in my book too. But part of the reason why I wrote the book was to open people's eyes to the fact that we really do have mentors around us all the time. And so industry specific, one that I always love to mention, I might have mentioned it in our last interview together, is Anthony Zalessi. And he was one of my first clients, and he really helped me in the start of my career get to know some pretty big movers and shakers in the natural products industry and helped me land a bunch of clients early on by highly recommending me, which was a little bit shocking to me at the time, because I was still I was in my late 20s, and I, was very concerned about people taking me seriously. But he made the right introductions, and I ended up working with Vitamin Angels, when Howard Schiffer was first starting out, and I worked with Pet Promise, Dr. Andrew Weil, and New Chapter, Tom Newmark. And so because he opened all those doors to me and he emphatically believed in me, these other trusted contacts believed in me too. And it made a huge difference in my ability to make a name for myself and also just even make a living. So I'm indebted to him, because I really admired Anthony, the way he networks, and I still admire him for that today. And I've learned a lot from him about networking, and that networking is not always, it's not a transactional thing. It's a relationship building thing. And so I've really built my business around relationships, whether that is the relationships I have with my clients, media, and especially what I call my pitch stars like Leah, my team that works for me. Relationship is the most important thing to me, and it's more important than any productivity outcome or making money or any of those other things. If the relationship isn't right for me, then the job's not right.
Yeah. Maybe you can explain to our listeners, maybe the difference between mentorship and life coach, right? And maybe your book Lift explains that, but in your mind, what is that difference between someone who says, I have a life coach or I have a mentor?
Well, I mean, if you have a life coach, you're probably paying somebody, to work with you. I have a professional coach that I work with, and I'm very thankful for Margot, my coach that I work with, because I think I pay for her services to meet with her, and she keeps me accountable to my goals and what I'm trying to do. And I think it's excellent to have any type of life coach or professional coach that can help you in that matter. Even when I was writing the book, I had a book coach, Rochelle Fredson, in the very beginning, taught me all about how to do book proposals and find the right publisher, and I paid her, and she was very good at what she did and kept me accountable to get the book proposal done and to find a publisher. And so I think that coaches that are getting paid for their services are absolutely valuable, but I think the difference is with mentorship is that mentorship is not something that you should pay for. Mentorship is just something that we should be doing. So it's just something that I really advocate, that if you're a leader in any stage of your career, you should just naturally be weaving in the attitude of mentorship into all of your human transactions. So that means being empathetic to people, listening, giving people opportunities that they wouldn't normally have, and being really thoughtful about that. And in my book, I even say, spoiler alert, I mean, mentorship's pretty easy. It's relationship. But it's not easy, right? Because we all know how difficult relationships can be, and if you don't work on them, they don't go well. So mentorship is something you have to consistently have in the front of your mind and be thinking about every day. It's not something that you do, at a coffee meeting once a week, or, it's not a to-do list item. It's a mindset. You want to be in a mentorship mindset all the time and just treat people with kindness and respect and be thinking about things from their vantage point and how you can help elevate them. Because when you do, and this is the premise of the book, when you do all those things, really what you're doing is you're helping yourself in so many ways. And so even as a mentor, Leah's my mentee, but I actually learn a ton from Leah all the time. And I'm constantly learning from her and the other people that I mentor because I've opened myself up to that. And that's where the real value starts hitting.
Yeah, I think you hit right on the head in terms of we never stop learning from anyone at any age. And when I say any age, I mean I'm still learning from people in their 70s and 80s, and that from their wisdom and their gift of experience. And it's not doesn't have to be professionally, it could be personally too, in growing. And because we're all gifted, we're all talented, we're unique, we're special, we're masterpieces. We all offer value out there. And I know that I'm a better person for the knowing the people who have come into my life to guide me and direct me, all right, on a path, in this industry that we're in today, Amy, but also in my personal life. My spiritual growth is, I need a mentor in that area. And I found that. So every day is, it's a blessing. It's a gift. And I found a mentor in my career as a young person when I was Leah's youthful age, and they fast track things. They make it easier. They connect you and they guide you. You're under their wing and they want to help you. And so I truly believe you're right. A life coach gets paid for their services. A mentor does it from their heart. And with over 80 interviews done on Kiss My Health, that's the common thread that you and all these other natural product legacy leaders have, and that is to see other people succeed and to be able to go out there and sacrifice your own needs to help others grow. And you've done a great job in that area, Amy. And so
Thank you.
So Leah, like when you look back as a child, in the sense of mom and dad, siblings. What value system in your household did you learn that you were able to bring into the apprenticeship program, or the internship, we'll call it, with Amy?
Well, both of my parents are very hardworking people, and they both really value education, and they instilled those values in me and my little brother. And I think that has really helped me in my role as an intern with Amy. I think those values of hardworking, just perseverance, and just going the extra mile, staying late if I need to, just doing that extra thing that'll make my work just a little bit better always. And they've really encouraged me to be the best that I can be, and that's something that I carry with me.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. Now, you've mentioned that Penn State. What motivated you to decide to choose Penn State? And
that's a hard question, right, Leah?
Very
Who
difficult.
motivated you
but
Penn State?
So It's a bit family tradition. My dad went to Penn State, and then I went to Penn State, and now my little brother goes to Penn State. So it's a family thing. But the first time that I visited Penn State, I just realized that I felt at home there. And it was an amazing feeling. And I loved all the programs, and I loved the campus. And before I went there, I wasn't interested in football, and now I am interested in football. But Penn State it's an amazing place to be, and I just felt at home there, so I knew it was the right decision.
Yeah. And think about this, Leah. When you're there at Penn State, you make friends, right? And, you know, your friends come into your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And, you know, have you come across any situations while being there where you're mentoring someone else, you know, along the way?
Yes. So in one of my clubs, actually freshman year, I became account executive. So I was leading a team of, I believe, about 4 other students to work on an account. And it was a really, really great learning experience, especially as a freshman, having that ability to start shaping my leadership experience and to learn what it is to be a leader. That was a really incredible experience.
And thank you for sharing that, because I think that everybody learns something from someone at any given time. And I think that when your person you are in your 20s is different than the person you are in your 30s, and up the ladder it goes. You grow both, you know, personally, professionally, but also body, spirit, and mind, right? And so mentorship is so important in other areas of our life. And Amy, you know, when you look back and you look ahead at the same time, do you still call on the mentors that have been influential in your career or your personal life still? Do you still keep in touch with them?
I've tried to. I would say later in my career, I've definitely been more conscious of that. Of course, when I was Leah's age and just starting out, we didn't have social media and all the technology tools that we have now. And so it was a little bit more difficult to stay in contact. And so in the book Lift, I talk about one of my first mentors in public relations, and I unfortunately lost touch with her, but she is the whole reason why I have a love for media relations, and she really taught me all the ropes. And we try to stay in contact, but, you know, after a while, it was just difficult to keep up. I think that Leah's generation is very fortunate, even though they may or may not realize it, but they have all these tools at their fingertips to, even if they're not actively reaching out to people all the time, or maybe people that they consider mentors, they can at least stay on their radar. And so with all of my mentees, pitch stars that have come through Pitch Publicity, there's been more than 50 now students that have gone through our internship program and that I've helped launch the start of their career. I'm in touch with all of them because I'm connected to all of them on social, and I have all of them in my contact book, of course. I mean, it's a lot of people to keep up with, but I do intentionally, you know, make a point to, you know, like their posts, and maybe they had a baby or they just got married or engaged, and, you know, comment on all those things. I think it's important to stay in touch, or to at least stay on their radar. And I know that people that have worked for me in the past have made comments on that on my podcast, and they come back and we do the Pitch Live podcast, and they'll share with me, it's just nice knowing that you're there, that if I needed you, I could reach out. And sometimes I get those calls. Sometimes I do get those calls from them. They've got a big decision to make, or they don't know exactly how to negotiate a salary, you know, change. They're trying to, you know, get a promotion, and I'm here. So I think it's important to stay in touch, but you have to be intentional about it, especially since a lot of times the people that you're mentoring, you know, they're not immediate family members, or, you know, they're not in an inner circle all the time. So you have to develop some ways that make it habitual for you to at least check in every now and then.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Leah, now you are in a public relations program, right, at Penn State?
Yes.
All right. So why did you choose public relations?
Well, please keep in mind, I made this decision when I was, I think, 17, but I still feel like it fits me very well. I was between marketing and public relations, and the reason why I chose public relations for Penn State was because I knew I wouldn't be able to get into the business school. I'm not joking, but it somehow just worked for me, and I looked into it more, and I realized that it was a really great fit. And then I also learned about the communications program at Penn State and how amazing it is. It is truly an incredible program, one of the top in the country, I believe. So I think everything just worked out super well for me.
Yeah, timing is everything.
And she's a great communicator. She's a great communicator, Stephen. So I think it's a great fit for her as well.
Well, that's one of the. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think as a great communicator, that is one of the qualities that make a great leader, right? In the public relations or any career. All right, maybe Amy, you can share a little bit, and Leah also. What qualities you think make a great leader in the public relations industry?
Well, I think a great leader in PR is someone who is, first and foremost, a truth teller. So I think that that's very important in our industry of public relations. That's often criticized as being spin doctors, which people in this profession should not be spin doctors at all. Like that is not what PR is all about. So I think first and foremost, I think it's important to be honest. And you want to be honest with the media, with your clients, with your team. So having that trait of honesty and truth teller is very important if you're going into the profession of public relations, because especially in situations where you perhaps maybe are working for a company internally, or even if you're working at an agency and you're advising a company, it's important in your role as a public relations professional to speak out when something's not right. And so I always tell my own clients, like, I'm not a yes woman or a yes man. I'm not going to say yes to everything, because I'm going to tell you when I think that something might be the wrong direction or may not land well. And so part of the job of a public relations professional is to think about situations from all different perspectives and views, and to advise the company on how to move forward, not just for their own benefit and not just to make themselves look good, but to do good. And that's the difference, to do good in the world and to do good for customers and to do good for the community. And so that is, at its essence, what a public relations professional's job is to be empathetic and thinking in that way of how can we make things better, even if it doesn't increase the bottom line at a company. In some cases, it may cost a lot of money to do right, but it's more important to do right than to be right.
And Leah, from your window, your perspective, what leadership qualities do you see, in the PR industry that you look for?
I would say someone that is very communicative, great communication skills, very responsive. I think those traits are very important, because you always have to be there. You always have to be checking in, checking up on things, reading the news, just testing the climate, seeing how everything is going, just so that you can give the best advice and advise a company in the best possible way. I also think that a great leader in this industry is somebody that is extremely personable. This is an industry that thrives off of relationships and building relationships, and everybody wants to be friends or wants to develop a working relationship with someone who is a good person and someone who is nice and personable. And I think that's a very important aspect of this.
Well, you know what I love about your mentor, Amy, right? You know, she's authentic, right? What you see is what you get, right? You know, she wears her emotions on her sleeve, and she's a go-getter. She's a Spitfire, Mustang, right? That woman she will climb the extra steps for you to see you succeed, right? That's how she treats her customers, right? She always puts the customer's needs ahead of her own. And that's a valued gift, I think, any leader in any, career, right? If you are always looking to help others succeed before your own needs are fulfilled, it comes back in karma. It comes back tenfold. The good Lord always opens the doors again for you when you least expect it. You don't know why, but it's also because you're always out there as a servant leader, which Amy and several others I've interviewed on this show are. So a servant leadership style from a giving heart and time is precious, because the time that Amy gives you, right, she can't give back. You've taken heartbeats from her. You have taken time away from her because she believes in you. And she believes that you are a rising star that's going out there to help others along her path and while creating your own. And that's a beautiful gift that she's giving you, is that mentorship program. Now, it goes both ways because you're helping her. She just mentioned to you, to all of us, that she's learning from you and growing in different ways because of you. So I think those are beautiful qualities both of you have mentioned on what makes a good leader in the terms of not just mentorship, but in the career path of being in the PR agency. So Amy, I wanted. It's a special time. You have dedicated 30 plus years in this industry. Correct me if I'm wrong on that timeline, right? And you have now launched your very first book. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
That's
for the listening audience,
very exciting.
Yeah, I want you to tell the listening audience out there, what is the name of your book?
Yes, so the book's name is Lift, 10 Mentorship Touchpoints to Empower Your Team and Accelerate Your Career.
Now, I'm going to share with the listening audience that a friend of mine has already purchased this book. And her comments have been that this is a great book for any leader or mentor. It provides self-reflection on both sides of an organization and provides helpful guidelines on how to grow your own professional development while guiding others. Some of the key points in this book, according to this testimonial, right, is that bottom line is that Amy has been very, she was very intrigued by Amy's insight. She felt Amy was on target, that it's important to build relationship as a mentor or leader to show your care and have a vested interest. The touch points are critical, in particular of the world of remote working. How do you connect to help employees build goals, develop skills, and achieve goals while overcoming challenges? She also goes on to say, as leader, it's important to be part of an employee's journey. Being present from the beginning is crucial in helping them grow and spread their wings. She moves on and says even more that empowering employees' mentees goes a long way. Allow them some breathing room and acknowledge and reward them throughout the journey. This also builds confidence. And don't forget the power of person interactions, even if it's done remotely through Zoom or Teams. Go the distance. Keep in touch with employees, mentees if they leave. You don't want hard work to be all for nothing. Helping others for long distance helps them, but also helps you. And, of course, don't burn bridges. You never know what the future holds. And, Amy, congratulations, because I thought that this testimonial that was it was very uplifting, all right, in terms of your book.
Ask your friend to please put that on Amazon reviews, please. That's amazing. Thank you for that. It's beautiful.
You'll meet this person one day, and but she's a therapist, social therapist out there in the industry, and not our industry, but in the world of changing people's lives for the better, and it's more than a life coach.
I love
but
that.
Yeah, she's licensed by the state of New York, but she's right. She's spot on. Yeah. So again, I want to know certainly, what I want to know what inspired you to write this book to begin with.
Well, Leah and all the other pitch stars that have worked with me were the inspiration. I have to say that I was bound and determined to never write a book. It was not on my list of things to do after representing so many authors through the years in my line of work as a publicist. I had decided that this book business deal was not something that I wanted to engage in. It just it wasn't a goal. But something changed in me, and when I was celebrating Pitch Publicity's 20th anniversary a few years ago, we had a few parties. I think you might have come to one, celebrating that milestone in my business, and I was just reflecting back on just the journey. And what I realized was that most people only know the forward-facing part of pitch. They see us helping companies and experts elevate, in the world of media and get their stories out, and, all the promotion that we do and publicity for others. And they see that side of the business, and they certainly see the work that I do, but they don't know the behind the scenes of pitch and like how I built the company. And I've gotten so many questions from younger people just starting out in their careers who want to start their own businesses and just curious about how I was been able to do it, that it made me reflect and think, what, we really have such a unique story at Pitch Publicity, because especially since Pitch Publicity has been primarily powered by college students, not the entire time of the journey, but, and I get in specifics in the book of when it switched over, but for the majority of the journey it has been. And it's a part of the story that I've never really shared with others because, to be quite frank with you, I was a little nervous to tell clients that their campaigns were being run by college students, because I was afraid that they wouldn't hire me if they knew that. But we have proven so much through the company and the work that we've been able to do. I thought the timing was right to share these stories, and the book is very story-driven about a lot of the pitch stars that have worked with us, and just how I've grown up as an entrepreneur with them as we've developed the company. And I thought it would be really inspiring for people to know that you really don't have to wait to a certain time in your career to make it. Like, you can get started as early as possible. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you're in an environment and you're surrounding yourself with other leaders that believe in you and that are giving you the opportunities. Because if you are in an environment where you're being held back or you're being given menial tasks that aren't challenging you, it really delays your success. And I wanted to show people that age didn't matter when it comes to being successful, and that you can do that at any age. And the key to all of this is having a really good mentor, or to have mentorship, scattered throughout. Even if it's not one person, you don't have to have one person, but to ask for help, to surround yourself with people that give access, that are interested in you, and that this is the way to turn things around, and that you too can treat other people in the same way and still get ahead, that there's plenty of success available out there for all of us, and it's not limiting. And so I wanted to change the mindset that we have to hold people back or there's not enough room at the top. There's plenty of room at the top. There's infinite room at the top. And if we just help others as they're moving along in their career, they help us and we all rise.
Win-win-win relationship.
Yes. Yes.
So the target audience for is really anyone who's looking for a mentor, right? Or anyone who's a leader.
Well, my target audience, when I was writing this book, I was really writing it actually to my mentees. So when I dedicated the book to the Pitch Stars, I really meant that. The whole time I wrote the book, I was thinking of them, and I wanted to tell them, because even they didn't know the mechanics behind how I was managing the company. They just worked for me. But they didn't realize the intention behind all the decisions I made around, what assignments I gave them or if I chose to bring them on a trip with me or not. And so I wrote the book to them. And so I was really writing to an audience of emerging leaders in that millennial and Gen Z age group. But I have to tell you that now that the book is out and a lot of different people have read it, the responses I've gotten is that it resonates with many different age groups for different reasons. So I really think that the book is for somebody who is looking to be inspired and motivated for change. And so whether that changes in your career or in your life, I think the book is uplifting in that the touch points in the book, the 10 touch points that I touch on, could be applied at work, but they could also be applied at home. And there are many, many parallels with mentorship. I mean, it's not just a work thing, it's a home thing as well. And I'm glad you asked Leah about her parents, because she has two wonderful parents that have really raised her in a way that has made her the superstar that she is. And I'm just privileged to have a sliver of her time here at Pitch to work with her directly too. But the role we have, as mentors extends way beyond the office. It's at home, and even if you don't have any children, I mean, everyone is in need of, a lift up. So, just look around, because it is the most rewarding thing that I think that you'll ever do is to help others in their journey. And so you don't have to be a parent. You don't have to be a boss. You don't have to be a manager. You just have to open your eyes and offer a hand and help someone else.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with that, Amy. Leah, what was your favorite part? Well, first of all, Leah, congratulations on being an inspirational part of the team that has, that really has inspired Amy to write this book, when she had really no intention to writing a book, right? But she really has been inspired by the mentees, the people in her circle, right? How do you feel about that, knowing that at your youthful age right now, you're part of a book that's changing people's lives?
I mean, it's a great feeling knowing that I have inspired Amy in this way. I feel like some of my work that I do, some of the things that I figure out, it helps the team. It makes our work go by smoother and faster. And I think that really helps the team. It helps Amy. It helps me. But with this book, I mean, it's incredible that I helped inspire it and that all of the other interns inspired it, because I never really thought that at such a young age that I could have such a big impact. And that also goes into how special this internship really is. Most of the people that I know, when they get internships, they're paper pushing, they are grabbing coffee, but the work that I do at Pitch really matters. And it has real consequences. And that's incredible.
I sense that the book has been a confidence builder for everybody on the team at Pitch Publicity. Is that true?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, it's made the whole team very happy and very excited.
Is there a favorite part of the book that or takeaway from the book that you want to share with the rest of the listeners out there?
Yeah, so I think my favorite part of the book is that mentorship is something that it's not just when you're older and grown up and, you know, you've got gray hair and you're all wise. It's something that really starts from a very young age. And it's something that you don't have to wait until you're established to do. You can support others at every single level. And I feel it in this internship in that Amy has me managing the team for specific events. Actually, for an event tomorrow, Success in the City, it's Penn State's career fair, and I'm managing the booth, and I created the social media plan, and I ran a brainstorm session with the team. And mentorship is something that you can do at every single level, and it's not really something that you have to wait for. It's something that you can just get started with.
Yeah, I think that people. Thank you for letting us know about that. I think mentorship is a little ambiguous for some because a lot of people don't know what coaching, mentorship. You know, some people may overlap it and think it's the same. But you know, to me, mentorship for listeners is a relationship. You know, which a more experienced or knowledgeable individual like Amy provides guidance, support, and advice to a less experienced or knowledgeable person, the mentee. Right? And the primary purpose of the mentorship is to foster growth and development, both personally and professionally. And Amy, I know she's learning from you and all the rest of the team there, and because we always take away something positive from everyone, and we've become better for knowing them. But you know, the aspects of mentorship for me, like that includes guidance. You know, where the mentors share their expertise and insights and experiences, you know, to navigate challenges, help make informed decisions, develop their skills. Support, you know, like a mentor offers, like Amy, emotional, moral support, encouraging you to, you know, during difficult times and celebrating your achievements. And look at this achievement with the book Lift, you know, and mentorship also involves, you know, taking knowledge, transferring it, and fostering skill development, facilitating learning opportunities where, like yourself, Leah, you can leverage in your personal and professional journey. And then I think Amy had mentioned it before, networking. You know, Amy, you know, has been able to expand their, you know, the professional network of the mentee, which is you, all right, introducing to valuable connections and resources that can aid in your career advancement. Like I look at you maybe 10 years from now, you're going to have your own wings. You're going to fly, you know, and out there and soar like an eagle to higher heights than we are today. And looking back, I know you're going to see Amy as a mentor, right, and a gate opener who's opened the doors for you and given you the wings beneath your wings to fly. And I think that's what mentors do, is they come into your life. And they help you get to the next stage in life. And then it's up to you to decide which door of life you want to go into. And I saw this movie. It's called A Beautiful, Bountiful Life. Have you heard of that movie? A Beautiful, Bountiful Life?
I have not.
All right. So,
I've not heard of that one.
All right. So, sort of a Broadway segment, but it's just came out, and it's about going through the doors of life, opportunities, and seeing on the other side. And then you look back, and you can't change the door you've gone through, but you can change the next door of life or what you're going through. And your at your youthful age, Leah, your best years are still ahead of you. And I'll say that when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, and I'll say that to Amy now. Right? Writing this book is going to be a game changer. Writing Lift is going to be a game changer in your life, Amy. I don't know if you realize that. Do you believe the fact that
I'm starting? It's blowing up quite a bit, so I'm starting to see that. But I really, truly wrote the book not to bring a lot of attention to me or even my company. I truly wrote it because the core message of Lift is be kind to others, and it's just a simple principle, I think. But I think it's one that is, I think the reason why the message is resonating so much right now is because we're just at a breaking point with leaders right now. We don't have a lot of good leadership role models out there. And it's unfortunate, but we have also we can't change people, but we can change what we're doing. And if enough people change how they lead, then that is just going to cascade into, a whole nother direction. And that's what I hope for Leah's generation, that I really feel like her generation is the one to break this cycle of beating people down or holding them back, or the command and control model of leadership that, Stephen, when you and I were coming up in our careers, that was normal, and we were kind of just told to keep our mouths shut and keep pushing forward and, keep our head down type of thing, and that's how you're going to get ahead. And I believe that Leah's generation of leaders, they're primed to do it differently, and so that's where I really intended the book, was to say, look, you can be a good person, you can be kind, you can treat others with dignity and respect, and all of those things they're not weak. Being empathetic is not weak. All these things are coming from a source of strength and love, and when you do that, you're going to change the entire environment of leadership, and we really need that right now. We really need to see more examples of that type of leadership so that it's modeled, because we mimic what we see. And so the more bad leadership we see, the more it's going to be mimicked. So I really am trying to encourage people through the book is start leading the way you want to be treated. And when we all start doing that, it's going to be a much better environment for everybody.
Thank you, Amy. Leah, amongst your age group, your friends, do you sense a need amongst everyone out there, that they need guidance and support more so today, all right, in terms of how to be, a better person, a kinder person, how to grow and fit into this world? Right?
I don't sense that need. I sense a need for mentorship on how to communicate effectively, how to get interviews, how to just navigate the professional world. But I don't think my generation really needs a lot of mentorship in empathy and that I think my generation is a very empathetic generation. We're very empathetic people, and it's just how we were raised to be and the environment that we grew up in. But I do think there is a massive need for just how to navigate the professional world. How do we get interviews? What do we say in interviews? How should we communicate? Should we send thank you notes? Just how to function in that sort of way. But I do think my generation is going to end up being incredible leaders and mentors and just great people.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor in your teaching for the next 20, 30 years, doesn't matter what career path you end up on, right? Always have that word gratitude in your mind, all right? That be thankful for the blessings that you have, not what you don't have, but for the blessings that come your way. And to always, anybody who's touched your life along the way, to never forget those people who helped you climb the ladder. I'll call it to the stairway to heaven, right, in your life. Right? And because I believe these are angels that have come into your life to help you and guide you. They want to see you succeed. As Amy said, you don't get paid for it. It comes from the heart. So when somebody you mentor, all right, and I'm sure, it's like I've said, as a school teacher, you make one child, one difference you make in that child's life. You've done your job as a teacher, right? Imagine the gift, the power you have been given with the value system of your family, right? And you're taking the torch from them and passing it on for the next generations to follow, right? With the guidance and support that Amy is giving you and other mentors that will come into your life along the way. You are truly blessed. And I'm so glad that you're part of Amy's, team, all right, to go out there and bring a book that will change one person's life and make that person a better person and strengthen that person into believing that they can do anything in life. But kindness, like you said, Amy, is everything, right? And that's where it all starts. And I think if your book preaches and preaches and teaches the word kindness, then all we have to do is get everybody else to do the same thing, right? So congratulations, ladies. Job well done.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, Peter, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
Of course.
Leah?
Of course. This is for Leah. Leah, you're probably going to have many mentors in your life, and you can't string the word mentor and Penn State together without thinking about Joe Paterno. And as a new student there that's right now, he is somebody who probably mentored more people in college sports than probably most. At least that's my perception. So I don't know if I'm delusional or not. But then there was the falling from grace based on, what happened with him. And I'd kind of like to see if the culture of the legacy was ever there while you're there, or what people talk about being students at Penn State relative to Joe Paterno, or because I think they took down statues and pictures or whatever else they did, the how tragedy, if you will, of that mentorship. So do you want to add anything or say anything about that?
Well, I grew up with my dad and brother being massive Penn State football fans, so the name Paterno is not unfamiliar to me. I remember when all of that happened and when it all came out and went down, and it was very, very disappointing because he was seen as a mentor or as honestly a bit of a father figure to a lot of people at Penn State and a lot of Penn State fans around the world. So it's not talked about as much nowadays, but his memory is still definitely there on campus. I mean, our library is the Patsy and Paterno Library, so we still definitely have monuments to him on campus, but the scandal and everything that came out, it was very disappointing, and that it's not talked about all that much, at least with me on campus.
It might be interesting to do a little bit of a case study on that, because the world looked at Joe Paterno as being, like you said, like a father-like figure, probably for more people than anybody else in that sport. And to have that mentor fall, if you will, based on reality or whatever, it was really something. I figured I wanted to see if the culture, if you will, or the memory lasted. So there was one thing that I learned a long time ago. I'll address two things that I picked up in relative to some things that Amy said. I had a mentor. His name was Ron DeSantis, not the guy who's the governor of Florida, but there was a different Ron DeSantis. He happened to be in New Jersey.
There's another Ron DeSantis?
There's a better Ron DeSantis, the one that taught me how to sell vacuums and how to build a business. He was the real Ron DeSantis. Okay. But I lost track of him when, I grew up and I left that business and he left that business too. And I I remember talking to another mentor, my friend, Dr. Larry, and I said to him, Ronnie, Dr. Larry, it's such a shame. Ronnie was such an important figure to me. I think about him every day and the things that he's taught me. He left, and I think that's a sign of a mentor. A mentor taught you something that you live with every day. And I said, it's such a shame that I don't talk to Ronnie. I don't even know where he is. And I don't know if I was important or as important to him as he was to me. So I said something, and Dr. Larry said something that stuck with me even today. He said, Peter, all relationships are temporary. And that made me think. And I said, you're right, Dr. Larry. He said, the relationship you had with Ron DeSantis was temporary. The relationship you'll have with your mom or your dad is going to be temporary. They don't ever last forever. So I think a mentor is somebody who leaves an idea or philosophy on you a little bit like a tattoo. Like you can't wash it off. It stays with you forever. It's probably right on your forehead. You think about it every day. So the other thing that I would just say is about heroes. Now, heroes are different from mentors. Never, ever meet your heroes. Ever. Because you'll probably find that they're human. And heroes need to be somewhat non-human in your mind, the delusion that you might have. Mentors are going to be normal. They're going to come with flaws and all those types of issues. But the reality is heroes. And I think for a lot of people, the Paterno thing, he was both a hero and a mentor for so many people. And maybe you might be able to think about that and come back to it a little bit later on, or maybe even ask some kids around school. I'd love to be able to hear that because that's part of the whole mentorship thing on how someone can fall for mentorship. And I won't get into the political nature of this, but I deal with a gentleman who basically unravels that scandal. And it might be something that some people want to know about, but that's another conference call or radio show. Yeah. So I want to say thanks for being here. And Amy, thanks for writing that book. So, Stephen?
Yeah. And I want to leave with our listening audience that spiritual mentorship is so important. You're right. Mentorship changes. It comes and goes. Season, reason, lifetime, right? And I look for the good in everybody. It's so easy to find fault in people. I look for the good because I believe that everybody put on this earth for a reason, all right? And we're supposed to learn something from that. And I truly believe that, if your faith is your rock, if it's your island, if it's, if it becomes your pillar of strength, then that is your mentor. That is a mentor that never is unwavering. It's always there for you to rely on that. And I truly believe that that is the common denominator for all these natural product leaders, that we can't do it alone. We need faith. We need to have trust. We need to have hope. And yes, the respect and the communication, the transparency, the authenticity, all these things are important. So just, I want to ask, please let Amy tell us where the listeners can purchase your book of Lift.
Yeah, so you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you buy books online. But the easiest way is to go to my book website, which is lifttolead.com, and it has all the hyperlinks there on how to get the book and a little bit more about the book. So if you were inspired by anything that you heard here today, I encourage you to go to lifttolead.com and to be a lifter, in your leadership. And if mentorship is too intimidating of a word or sounds like it's too heavy of a lift, I would just say all you have to do is be a lifter. So it just takes a little lift for somebody, and one small thing that you do for somebody could just change the entire trajectory of their lives. And so I just leave everyone with, you're being watched all the time. So whether you call yourself a mentor or not, you are, because you're being watched, you're being modeled, and your actions will be replicated. So just be aware of putting out the actions that you want to be replicated. And thanks again so much for having Leah and I on your show, that we could share some of our backstory with you.
Thank you, and for that fascinating book. So remember, if you're having a cloudy or dark day and you need a lift, Think of Amy Summers' inspirational book, but with their mentees behind it, knowing that she's inspired a group of young adults coming into her internship program, that she is embracing and encouraging to grow personally and professionally. This book will make a difference in your life. And that, Peter, let's go for a break to our sponsor, Joe Bradley and the Step Change team. Thank you, Amy and Leah, for a great show, a fantastic, lift-amazing show.
So we're going to talk about.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Leah, and thanks, Amy. Of course, we're going to make sure the show notes has all these things. You guys can go. I know you have a business to run as well, but if you want to stick around, we're going to do a commercial for Step Change Innovations. StepChangeGo.com is their website. Here we go.
Here's a word from our sponsor, Step Change Innovations. Selling science-backed ingredients is tough. No one understands that better than industry veteran Joe Bradley. For over 20 years, Joe has blazed trails in selling science-backed ingredients into emerging markets. He's seen the challenges firsthand, the long sales cycles, the regulatory maze, and the struggle to turn groundbreaking science into retail success. That's why he dedicated his career to overcoming these hurdles. At Step Change Innovations, we're on a mission to make that journey easier for you. Whether you need expert regulatory guidance, a launch strategy that transforms your ingredient into a premium consumer product, or an outsourced sales program that fills your pipeline with quality leads, we've got you covered. Imagine your innovative ingredient not just as an idea, but as a proven, market-ready product displayed on shelves, building trust with every customer and driving real sales. With our deep industry expertise and a robust network of suppliers, retailers, and co-manufacturers, we turn challenges into opportunities and accelerate your path to market. If selling your science-backed ingredient feels like an uphill battle, let's change that. Schedule a conversation with Joe Bradley to talk through your sales challenges and brainstorm ways to overcome them. Whether it's refining your strategy, securing retail placement, or building a sales pipeline that actually delivers, we're here to help. Visit StepChangeGo.com to connect today and take the first step toward getting your ingredient on shelves faster and easier. At Kisk My Health Radio, we say thank you to Step Change Innovations for being the sponsor of this podcast. Now back to our show. Take it away, Peter.
And we are back. Peter Mingles here with Stephen Lukowski, and we just interviewed Amy Summers and Leah Weiss on the mentorship program for you, Stephen. So thanks for being here, and I'll let you start to wrap it up or continue with any communication you want to talk about.
Well, is Leah still here and Amy, or did they sign off?
I don't know. We let them go. I think they're gone.
Okay, they're all gone. Okay, awesome. Well, isn't she, Leah Weiss, a rising star?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Wow.
Sharp girl. You know,
Absolutely.
Heart in the right place. Lots of support. She's going to be a rising star in whatever she chooses, no matter what she chooses. Whether it's going to be PR work, natural ingredients, who the hell knows? Or if she just wants to be a mom. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, the gal's a sharp gal.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I pay tribute to her parents for the upbringing and the value system that she learned at home, and she's taken that torch and brought it to Amy to change Amy's life. So she's already done. What I feel is she created an opportunity for Amy, who never wanted to write a book,
right,
along with the rest of the men, right, that Amy has on her team, or the people on the internship side of things. They've inspired Amy to write a book.
Well,
here's a confidence builder.
Yeah, here's a fun thing about that. We'll take a fun twist to it. Maybe part of the philosophy should be live your life as if your boss is writing a book about you. Hidden warning. Just a little tip. You never know. That wonderful boss that might be your mentor's writing about you for a book she's going to publish and then push. So anyway, that's kind of cool. Wouldn't be a bad thing. Wouldn't be a bad thing.
No. We need more women in our, in the natural product industry, especially, but in the world, in management positions, and to go out there and make a difference. Women who have earned their success and can climb the ladder. We just need more of diversity, all right, in that industry, in the whole world, in terms of recognizing talent, and lifting up these women to higher levels of confidence that they can accomplish things, given maybe the headwinds in front of them, right? But Amy is a powerhouse, a cheerleader, transformational leader for these young interns over at Pitch Publicity, and she's done I would say, in this case, amazing, job that for all of these people, and she's making a difference in their life, and they're making a difference in hers. So that's a beautiful thing. So anyway, Peter, another great interview. Thank you so much, and to our listeners there, as Amy said in her book, it's all about being kind. All right, go out there, be kind to people. All right, that's all we ask. Right, and remember, how you treat someone is how you expect others to treat you. Right, so you don't know what's going on in their people's minds, and when you talk to them or see them, just understand that before, and think twice before you say anything. Right, and just know, that if love is in your heart, that will shine through everything you do. All right, so keep that in mind as we go out there and make a difference in this world together. Right.
Excellent.
And once again, Peter.
Yeah, thanks for a great radio show. KiskMyHealth.com. Go to KiskMyHealth.com. You should really check out that Amy Summers interview that we did. We put a deep dive on that one, Stephen, so they can hear a little bit about that as well. It's a great story. And Amy, we appreciate it.
We'll do a deep dive on this one, too.
Yeah, we'll do a deep dive on this one, too. And, we're going to be able to say we interviewed Leah Weiss when she was, early in her career, and look where she is now, because we're going to be doing these radio shows for a super duper long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to our corporate sponsors once again, RFI Ingredients, Joe Bradley, Step Change Innovations, Heather Weiner and Whole Foods Magazine, and Amy Dine Nutritionals. Thank you for their support. God bless.
Thank you, Captain Cranman.
And have a fantastic rest of the day.
There we go, Captain Cranman away.
You've been listening to the Kisk My Health radio show on Building Fortunes Radio. Thanks for listening. This Kisk My Health radio show is brought to you by Stephen Lukowski. Stephen is known as the Cranberry King, universally known as Captain Cranman. Stephen has over 30 years of experience working with manufacturers and marketers of dietary supplements and natural ingredients to make this world a healthier and a better place. You can check out Stephen Lukowski on LinkedIn and on the KiskMyHealth.com website. We are glad you listened in. Spread the word and check out previous Kisk My Health radio episodes. Bye for now. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. Now go make the world a better place.